purpose of this speech is to talk about the first woman to join the Air Force. At the end of my speech, the class will have a better understanding of how women came about fighting for their country. Since the beginning of time, women have played an important role in human existence. We are mothers, teachers, wives, and much more. When soldiers were out fighting in World War I, women stepped to the plate. They took care of America, delivered babies, and took care of their home. In the midst of doing these things, they were manufacturing and shipping desperately needed items to soldiers at war. History is loaded with headlines regarding women making a difference in the world and leaving their mark in the hearts of the American people. Today I'm going to talk to you about Esther Blake and how she played an important role in today's United States Air Force. I'm going to talk to you about Esther Blake, her family, and the job that she did. Second, I'm going to discuss Esther joining the military to include the Women's Army Corps and women in the Air Force. Finally, I'm going to talk to you about the significance, how Esther impacted the Air Force today, and how it pertains to warrior ethos. Esther was a widow left with two sons. Esther was a widow left with two sons. They were in the military. Her oldest son, Lieutenant Julius Blake, was a B 17 pilot out of England. The baby, Lieutenant Tom Blake, was a B 25 medium bomber in Italy. Esther lived in Miami and worked as a civilian employee at Miami Airport Depot. Esther received notification that her oldest son was shot down over Belgium and was reported missing. Esther Blake joining the military. In 1944, Esther received notification that her oldest son, Lieutenant Julius Blake, was shot down over Belgium and was reported missing. Esther quit her job and joined the Women's Army Corps in 1944. Her motivation to enlist in the military was related to the fact that both her sons were in the military fighting the war in Europe. She quoted, "The reason for joining was the hope of helping free a soldier from clerical work to fight, thus speeding up the end of the war. If I can do this, my efforts will be worthwhile." The Women's Army Corps was the women's branch of the U.S. Army, 1943. About 150,000 American women served in the Women's Army Corps during World War II. While conservative opinions in the leadership of the Army and public opinion generally was initially opposed to women serving in uniform, the shortage of men necessitated a new policy. While most women served stateside, some went to various places around the world, including Europe, North Africa, and New Zealand. Some men feared that if women became soldiers, they would no longer serve in the masculine preserve and their masculinity would be devalued. Others feared being sent into combat units if women took over the safe jobs. In September 1894, the U.S. Air Force was officially created as a separate branch, but women couldn't join the first year. After years passed by, Esther got to see both of her sons return home with minor wounds and many decorations. After the return of her sons, she got out of the military and went back working at Miami Air Depot. She headed a recall for women in service and returned to Fort McPherson in Atlanta, Georgia. On July 8, 1948, Esther Blake became the first woman in the United States Air Force. She enlisted in the first minute of the first hour and the first day regular Air Force duty was authorized for women. She remained in active duty until 1954 when she separated due to disability. She went to work with the Civil Service at the Veterans Region headquarters in Montgomery. Esther died 17 October 1979. On October 1st, 1987, Blake Hall, a dormitory at the Senior NCO Academy, was dedicated in memory and honor of the first woman in the United States Air Force. As a result of Esther joining the military, she set an example that women could also help implement change. Her significance. The impact on the Air Force today is that she encouraged other women to join. More women are still joining and helping the men fight war. 1960, first female Chief Master Sergeant, Grace Peterson. In 2003, we had the first female aerial gunner, A1C Vanessa Dubos. 2006, we had the first female Thunderbird pilot, Captain Nicole Mulaski. Recently in Iraq, 4 women helped save a convoy. In another part of Iraq, Captain Leanne Roberts, a coalition military assistant training team leader, is the only female out of 8,000 or so on this particular base. Her job is to train Iraqi recruits to protect their own country. I have discussed Esther Blake, her family, and the job that she did. Second, I discussed Esther joining the military to include women Army Corps and women Air Force. Finally, I discussed significance, how Esther impacted the Air Force and how it pertains to warrior ethos. Women should only be recognized for first, but they should be commended for their continuing bravery, courage, and leadership. I'm proud to be in the uniform and say that I'm in the United States Air Force. Defending this country is the greatest feeling a person can have. And I will leave you with a closer. What the military has evolved into today would not be possible without contribution of the countless women that went before us. And this is by Sergeant Terrell. All right, as I close this, I will attach a picture. The picture is of Esther Blake in her uniform. I appreciate you taking your time out to listen to my speech. Have a good day.